It's great to be back with you this week, and I wanted to spend some time talking about what's going on with the people that serve those in the real estate industry. The aging population is at its highest point in probably 10 or 15 years, all the way back to the Great Recession. And at this inflection point, it's probably time for a correction. Not necessarily about real estate prices, but the number of people in the industry working as licensed professionals, actively working. It's 50% of the real estate population that sells zero or one property annually. So those are the people that are likely to stay in it, as they are the ones that are thinking, if they pay their board dues every year for, say, 5 years and they make one sale, they're probably kind of breaking even. They're not likely to leave the industry. And of course, within the top, let's say 20%, they have a sustainable business. They've been in it for most likely a long time. And with repeat clients and marketing, they're likely to continue to be in the industry. And so where is the attrition going to be? Most likely those in the 20 to 50% category, where they've been in it long enough to have some sales, but not long enough to have sustainable sales. And with any number of things occurring to the way that you make income in real estate, that is the most affected population. You see, if you're only trying to replace 0 or 1 sales, there's not much to replace. As a matter of fact, you probably have a JOB or something else going on. The real estate's just a side hustle. And if you're in the top of the industry, you're feeling pain because maybe you're making changes to your P&L and your line items and your personnel, but you'll likely adjust and make it through. I think most will. But those that are in the 20% to 50% category, as far as sales, 21 to 50, they have the least margin for error. It is the most risky position to be in because they need a sustainable revenue to fund their life and also to reinvest to keep the business going. And the cash flow, well, that's a crunch for many, many people, maybe 100% of the agents this year. We'll see. And within that 20 to 50% category, a large percentage of them got into the real estate industry in the last 3, maybe 4 years. They've only known an upmarket. They've only known a market where it's easy to sell a property, when buyers are ready, willing, able to write an offer really quick and give up most of the deliveries, not negotiate a price, not do any inspections, maybe even let the owner live in the property for a couple of months afterwards rent-free just to get into a property. And the fact is, for the agents that are waiting for it to get back to normal, which is the only thing they know, they've been tricked a little bit because they came into this anomaly of a market. And what we're experiencing today is much closer to what I would consider the normal market, where buyers and sellers take a little time and they do that dance and romance and make that decision. I'm going to look at a few and then wait and look at a few and wait, or just delay. And for the sellers, they've grown accustomed to put it on the market, sell it in 2 days, get way over the asking price, and be in full control. Now, it's still a seller's market due to the super low inventory. But even sellers, not everybody's selling in the first day or two with 100 offers. Matter of fact, we're seeing things that haven't happened in a long time. Properties getting to 30 or 60 days, still selling close to the asking price. It's just taking longer to make that happen. And for agents that are in the industry, the running joke is, seller wants to change the price. They want to reduce it. Do we have a form for that? Legitimately, across the country, there's people who have never had to take a price reductions. They don't even realize there's a form for that. So not only is there a shift in the behavior of the consumer, there's a shift in what's required of the agents, whether it is the way that they conduct their business, the way that they prospect, or just some forms they've never even seen or heard of. And it's an interesting time to be in real estate. I don't believe that short sales and foreclosures are on the horizon. That's not the attrition or change we're seeing in the market right now. It's the number of agents, the type of agents that are likely to stay in the business. And there's some wild estimates out there that 30, 40, even 50% of the agents will be out of the business within the next 12 to 18 months. We'll see about that. Do I think 20 to 25% could be out? Absolutely. And right in that bracket I described. It's not the zeros and ones. I mean, it's board dues. They're paying, maybe $1,000 a year. It's not a lot of risk. And if in the upper echelon, they probably, real estate probably is their best skill set and the best use of their time and expertise. They're probably going to stay in and tough it out. It's the rest of those will be affected. That's a big, big segment of the population. And that's what's going to affect this industry is the players will change. There'll just be less agents out there. So as a consumer, if you're choosing an agent, what would stand out to me as being important in that selection process? Well, I think reviews would stand out, right? Track record, number of sales. Have they sold in your neighborhood or were they just driving an hour and opening up a door? That may make a difference in this. So if they have a neighborhood expertise, a niche, if you will. But, back to online reviews. I mean, let's face it. I've witnessed people spend 20, 30 minutes obsessing over 5 or 10 restaurants and 4 and 5 stars are reading about, the chicken salad and the handcrafted burger. They obsessing over a $12 purchase. And I got to believe when you're involving hundreds of thousands of dollars in the purchase or sale of a home, more and more of these reviews, they matter. So an agent that's lightly reviewed, not reviewed at all, or has poor reviews, as the market continues to change and contract as far as agent count, those reviews become even more critical. And I don't know that there's the ability to go from 0 to 100 reviews in a market such as we're in right now. So reviews are a big thing. So if you're not checking reviews when you're selecting an agent, I think that's important. Track record. Did they sell 2 homes last year, or 22 or 222? The level of service, you may want more individual care, and that's great. A team of specialists seems to be the way that most are going to right now. It was 10 years ago. It was a fad. But now it's here. If you think about specialization, if you have an expert that can sell your property, knows everything about the analytics behind it, the numbers, I think there's someone who understands the financials of selling a home. That's important. You might look for that specialist. Someone who works mainly with buyers and understands the needs of buyers and new construction sites and condos and everything that's important to a buyer and what they're visualizing as they move across the country. That's a big thing. Now, do they have a support staff that handles paperwork and marketing so they can focus on the real estate? The days of somebody who is going to list your property, do all the paperwork, all the contract to close, getting a hold of title and escrow, and the insurance companies, the mortgage companies, and all the moving parts in there. I mean, there's said to be like 150 steps in purchasing a home. That's a lot for one person to do. And then expertly go out there and help you buy the next house and still continue to keep the business going, run the marketing, making sure all the compliance is in place. At some point, it gets very difficult. So teams were once a fad, and now the level of service is elevated in many, many ways. And so are they part of a team? Or are you selecting a team of experts where you've got great leverage and support? I mean, you've got 5 experts working for you. If you've got a marketing specialist and someone who's a compliance and paperwork specialist, you got somebody, if you have a listing, do they have a team that's working the phones to call into the database to launch your new listing? These are things that people are looking for right now. So there will be a migration of individual agents to either move into the workforce outside of real estate or maybe just to a related industry where there's a steady paycheck that's not commissioned. And there's a great movement of single agents moving to teams. It's a lot like technology. At some point, it's just hard to keep up. When you've got 10 or 15 people in support working, all week long, an individual agent at some point just gets tired or wants a week off. And it's not their fault. But things are accelerating right now, and the expectations of service are through the roof. There's simply very few people out there that can meet the expectations consistently over time that a team can. So you'll see a migration of agents into teams. You'll also see them moving into the general workforce. And also, again, it's very natural. You'll also see that the way properties are marketed will continue to elevate. I mean, now there's an amazing amount of websites out there, and they all do the same thing in just a little bit different way. But that elevated level of service and delivery of the product menus, it's unparalleled. I mean, in the history of real estate that I'm aware of. I mean, it's pretty amazing what you can find online as far as discovering properties in the advent of technologies and great video systems, where you may not have to go to the property very much in the future. I do believe there is a place where an agent goes to the property for the next 100 years, and somebody wants to see it, feel it, and touch it in person. I get that. But there's a growing number of people that are perfectly comfortable seeing all the statistics online, all the still photos, and a walking tour video. I mean, that hasn't stopped. I mean, it certainly took on an accelerated life during COVID, but it hasn't stopped. And if anything, people have found that they prefer it in many cases. And it's not everybody, but it's definitely something people prefer. So at this time in the market, if you are in the business and things are a little bit off or struggling, it's normal because this is a more normalized market. This is the expectation. And when people say, this isn't 2 or 3 months, it's 2 or 3 years, I agree. It's going to be like this. And we'll be making in-game adjustments, those of us that remain in the industry, to continue to give the service and run a profitable business so that they can continue to grow and elevate services. Without profit, you can't elevate service. And without elevated service, you're not likely to continue to be highly reviewed. So if people are checking those reviews, you continue to show up. So this is where the market is going to, and it could be an absolutely good thing. And we'll be watching to see the inflection points as it changes. And it wouldn't shock me to see a large number of teams grow exponentially during the year as far as agent count. Now, sales count, we'll see. It's been demonstrated this year that there are less homes being sold per agent than in the last 3 years. So there may be more people on these teams selling the same amount of property, but that might be okay. And I believe if it benefits the consumer, it's something that will grow. And if it doesn't, well, then it will shrink. And so we're probably at a point in the market where not every agent is an expert, and that's okay. But I do believe the expectations going forward are there's a different level of expertise required to participate in the real estate industry from a sales position. And that's what I'm really got my eye on right now. So I hope that this gives you a little perspective on the agent that you might select and the dynamics behind what's important in their training to deliver the best possible service to you and what you should watch for. All right, I enjoyed being with you today. This is Ron Wysokarski for the Black Hole of Real Estate.